Officer Daniel Hayes had always believed that life could fall apart in seconds, but nothing prepared him for the night he rushed his 15-year-old daughter, Emily, into the ICU. Her breathing had been shallow, her skin unusually cold, and the panic in her eyes was something he had never seen before. Doctors moved swiftly, attaching monitors, whispering to each other, and pushing him gently aside. For the first time in his career as a police officer, Daniel felt truly helpless. He wasn't dealing with a crime, a suspect, or a threat he could handcuff. This time, the enemy was invisible, silent, and attacking the person he loved the most. Emily's condition continued to swing between stable and critical. Some days she opened her eyes, weakly squeezing his hand. Other days, she didn't move at all. The doctors suspected an autoimmune reaction, something rare, something unpredictable. Daniel barely slept, spending every night in a stiff hospital chair, watching the rise and fall of his daughter's breaths. He memorized every beep from the machines, every flicker of the screens, and every tremble in the nurses' voices. The world outside didn't exist anymore. His entire universe was reduced to one cold ICU room. One evening, as a storm thundered outside, Daniel received a call from his captain. A homeless woman was seen wandering through the hospital halls, muttering strange threats. Security had lost track of her. "Stay alert," the captain warned. "We don't know her intentions." Daniel wasn't in uniform, but instinct kicked in. He scanned the hall from Emily's door. Everything seemed silent, normal even. Nurses walked with clipboards, doctors moved with calm urgency, and he almost convinced himself that the warning was just routine. But then he saw her. A frail woman with tangled gray hair, soaked from the storm, clutching a torn blanket to her chest. Her eyes were wild, unfocused, but determined. She walked with quick, uneven steps, passing nurses without a glance. Daniel felt something inside him tighten. She didn't look confused. She looked like she was headed somewhere specific. Before he could move, she turned directly toward Emily's ICU room. Daniel's heart dropped. He rushed forward, but she was faster than she looked. In one swift motion, she pushed the ICU door open. The machines beeped sharply from the sudden movement. Emily lay unconscious, unaware of the chaos unfolding around her. Daniel grabbed the woman's arm. "Hey, you can't be in here." The woman twisted, her voice cracking as she screamed, "I will remove your grandson." The words hit Daniel like a punch. "What grandson?" he shouted, struggling to keep her from lunging toward the bed. She pointed at Emily, her voice trembling but fierce. "He took everything from me. You will not take him. I will remove your grandson before he destroys everything." Emily had no children. Daniel knew immediately that the woman wasn't seeing reality. She was seeing a memory. A trauma. A ghost. More nurses ran in, helping Daniel restrain her. The woman collapsed to the floor crying, whispering the same phrase over and over. "He took everything, he took everything." Security escorted her away as doctors checked Emily for any harm. She was okay. Shaken but unharmed. Daniel sat beside her again, his heart still pounding. Who was this woman? Why did she think Emily was her grandson? What had happened to her? Later that night, hospital security allowed Daniel to speak with her. She was calmer now, wrapped in a warm blanket, sitting in a small room under supervision. Her name was Mara. Her voice was thin, almost fading. "I'm sorry," she whispered without looking up. "I didn't want to hurt her, I just saw him again." "Who?" Daniel asked gently. "Your grandson." She nodded slowly. Tears slid down her cheeks, unrestrained. "He died in this hospital, in a room just like hers. They said they couldn't save him. I didn't believe it. I kept thinking he was alive somewhere, that someone took him." She clutched the blanket tighter. "Every night I wander, trying to find him. And when I saw your daughter, she looked just like him did in those last moments." Daniel felt something shift inside him. Her threat suddenly made sense. She wasn't dangerous, she was grieving. Lost in a loop of pain she couldn't escape. He listened as she explained how she lost her home shortly after her grandson's death. Grief consumed her, leaving her unable to work, unable to think straight. She drifted from shelter to shelter until she simply stopped trying. The hospital, in some twisted way, became the last place she felt connected to someone she loved. Daniel didn't know what to say. He didn't forgive what she tried to do, but he understood the roots of her suffering. Pain makes the mind lose its way. Loss makes people see things that aren't there. Mara was taken to a mental health facility for evaluation. The doctors assured Daniel she'd receive proper treatment. But her trembling voice stayed with him long after she left. Days passed. Emily's condition slowly improved. Her breathing strengthened, her color returned, and the machines around her beeped in reassuring rhythms. Daniel finally allowed himself to hope again. One morning, Emily opened her eyes fully for the first time in weeks. Dad, she whispered. Tears filled his eyes instantly. I'm here, he choked out, brushing her hair gently. I'm right here. Emily recovered little by little. Daniel told her everything except for the incident with the homeless woman. He didn't want to panic her. Not yet. 2 weeks later, Emily was discharged from the ICU and moved to a regular room. She regained the strength to walk with support, laugh again, and even tease her father about his terrible hospital coffee habits. One afternoon, a doctor entered her room holding a sealed envelope. This was left for you both, he said quietly. Daniel frowned. By who? The doctor hesitated. The woman from the ICU incident, Mara. She insisted it was important. Daniel opened the envelope carefully. Inside was a small photograph. A little boy with bright eyes, smiling as if the world had never hurt him. On the back, written shakily, were the words. I saw him in her because she still has a chance. Please save her. Save her like I couldn't save him. Emily read it silently, her expression softening. Dad, she thought I was someone she lost. Daniel nodded slowly. She was confused. Hurt. She wasn't trying to harm you. She was trying to protect something she couldn't bring back. Emily looked down at the photo again, her fingers gently tracing the boy's face. She needs help, Dad. Real help. No one should suffer alone like that. Her compassion stunned Daniel, but it also made him proud. His daughter, his fragile, recovering daughter, still had the heart to care about someone who frightened her. A week later, Daniel visited the mental health facility where Mara was staying. Emily insisted on coming too, even though she was still weak. The staff allowed them to meet in a supervised room. Mara looked up, surprised, her eyes wide with shame. I'm sorry, she whispered before they even sat down. I never meant to. Emily shook her head gently. It's okay. I understand. And I want you to know I'm getting better. You didn't take anything from me. Mara covered her face, sobbing softly. Daniel placed the photograph, now in a protective sleeve, on the table between them. Your grandson looks like he was a beautiful soul, he said softly. Mara nodded, touching the picture with trembling fingers. He was my whole world. Emily reached out slowly and touched Mara's hand. You're not alone anymore. The room fell silent. Heavy, emotional, but filled with something new, hope. Daniel arranged support services with the hospital, ensuring that Mara received therapy, medication, and placement in a long-term care facility. He even helped find a community outreach program willing to assist her once she stabilized. For the first time in years, Mara wasn't wandering aimlessly. She was healing. Months later, Emily fully recovered. She returned to school, her smile brighter, her steps stronger. Daniel learned to breathe again, to sleep again, and to be present in life instead of sitting beside cold machines. One evening, as they walked out of a grocery store, they saw a woman walking with a social worker toward a transport van. Mara. She looked healthier, cleaner, her eyes clearer. When she saw them, she paused, a small smile forming on her lips. Emily, she whispered softly. Emily waved. Hi, Mara. Thank you, Mara said, her voice warm. For giving me a chance, for seeing me. Daniel stepped closer. You're doing well, he said kindly. I'm trying, she replied. Some days are hard, but now, I remember him without losing myself. She placed her hand over her heart. He would have wanted me to live, not wander. Emily smiled, her eyes shining. You deserve peace too. They talked for a few minutes before Mara was guided into the van. She waved at them through the window as it drove away, one final goodbye, one final promise that she was moving forward. As Daniel and Emily walked home, the world felt different. Softer. Kinder. They had survived fear, illness, and a woman's desperate grief. But in the end, compassion won. Healing won. And somewhere, Daniel believed, a little boy was smiling knowing that the people who carried his memory were finally beginning to heal. The night sky stretched above them, calm and endless. A quiet reminder that even the most broken hearts can find their way back to light when someone chooses to care. And Daniel silently vowed that he would never forget the lesson Mara had taught them. Sometimes the people who look the most frightening are the ones who are hurting the most, and the smallest act of understanding can save a life, not by removing pain, but by helping someone carry it until they can stand again.